Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Rancho, your host. Today is Monday, March 9th, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We had a big day of news. First day of free agency in the books. A lot of players still yet to sign, but then a lot of big names. Also, we know the landing spot. So the board has been reshuffled. We will adjust and draft accordingly. But first, let us drop that intro. Good to be back. We have Peppertoni in here, Fimpst and First, with Who Hames as well. Sup, fam? How you doing? Loved your stream earlier tonight with the Dog Pound. Good video. Also, Jamie in here. How you doing, my man? Welcome in. We will get to some music later, but first, a quick promo for Underdog new customers. If you're interested in signing up for Underdog, now's the perfect time to be hopping into some of these lobbies. Play your first $5 in fantasy entries using promo code BLUNT on sign up, and you will get 75 bonus entry free entries, $75 worth of free entries in your account. Jumbled up the words a little bit, but basically play your first 5, get 75 in free bonus entries. Promo code BLUNT, link is in the description. Must be a new customer, and age and location requirements do apply. Anyways, that's out of the way. That is yesterday's news for the sake of the rest of the video. But if you're hopping in, maybe on the replay, check that out if you are interested. But we will revisit some of the headlines today. We're going to try and skim through this fast. So this might take like 10 minutes. Honestly, not going to go too in depth. But at the very least, it's good to do some bookkeeping and try to log every single move that has been made. Sometimes there's some bigger names, or you just weren't paying attention, didn't get the notification at a specific time. Maybe in your mind, it got buried just a little bit. Speaking of which, Scott Young, we will go over what is new. Let's start at the top. Big news I woke up to was Minkah Fitzpatrick traded to the Jets. Then Rashawn Gary dealt to the Cowboys. Travis Kelce announced he's returning, looks set to re-up with the Chiefs. Tua did near a deal with Atlanta. He is now their backup. We got a lefty backing up Michael Penix, so the system makes sense. Alec Pierce signed a massive deal to stay with the Colts. Jake Browning will become an unrestricted free agent. Asante Samuel re-signs with Pittsburgh. Maybe we can skim over a few of these. But Olamide Zaccheaus, on a very, very minor deal, does go to Atlanta. That is a spot that needs wide receiver 2. We'll get to that player ahead of him in a little bit. I think a player that is not being mentioned at all, and maybe isn't that important, but kind of a relevant piece of news. Anyways, Colts won a long-term deal with Daniel Jones. Kenneth Walker signed with the Chiefs. He's a second-round pick for sure. I think I'd rather have Kenneth Walker than Saquon Barkley. And as we continue to scroll up, we do have Cade Otton remaining in Tampa Bay. That, I think, is underrated just because that is a landing spot that does have some value. Had 87 targets 2 years ago, 85 targets last year with the Bucks. And some of his success is kind of tied to players getting hurt, but that's basically what happened today because Mike Evans did leave. We have Michael Pittman heading to the Steelers via trade. That's interesting. I might consider Pittman more valuable than DK Metcalf. You know, I've always not thought Metcalf was as good as advertised. That is actually sneaky. If anything, I'm even less interested in Metcalf. But Malik Willis signed a 3-year deal with the Dolphins. Not the best landing spot, a little unideal for Achane, if you ask me, but I do think Waddle has a competent thrower, and Malik Willis didn't get like overpaid drastically. He got a little bit more than what Justin Fields got. If he doesn't work out, I think it's similar. Probably just going to be the backup next year. They did move off of Tua. We got Isaiah Likely signing with the Giants, so sticking with Jim Harbaugh. I think that's terrible news for Theo Johnson. Likely, however, a very sneaky asset to draft. Romeo Doubs, still a free agent, but is not going to re-sign with Green Bay, so you can consider Matthew Golden a little bit more valuable, Jaden Reed a bit more valuable, maybe Christian Watson appropriately valuable. He's been falling. I've noticed him fall quite a bit, but Tucker Kraft, that is definitely a player I trust in Green Bay. If anything, I think he's the safest one of the 4, but all 3 other receivers might be moving up. There were some trade rumors regarding Dontavian Wicks I heard about, but those are just rumors. they probably end up keeping him. Odds are that's what's gonna happen, more likely than not. Theo Johnson, like we said, a bit of a loser. Austin Hooper signing a 1 year deal with the Falcons, so that actually helps out Hunter Henry quite a bit. Sneakily, Hooper has been kneecapping Hunter Henry just enough to not make him a clear top 10 play. If they do not replace Austin Hooper, maybe Hunter Henry is even safer. We do have Kenneth Gainwell heading to Tampa Bay. I think that's kind of neutral for Gainwell in terms of his ADP. He probably moves up maybe a round-ish, but probably not higher than top 100. I think Bucky's okay, but we wanted Bucky for his pass catching work, and that's going to be threatened big time by Kenny Gainwell. So there were some reports last year, mainly out of like Pro Football Talk, which is related to NBC, pretty legit source, that said when Bucky was hurt, I believe it's Mike Florio, heard that the team was actually kind of frustrated with Bucky Irving. So they still haven't brought back Sean Tucker. Rashad White still a free agent. Kenny Gainwell gets a pretty sizable commitment. Does it list it here? The contract reportedly includes $10 million in guarantees, a 2-year, $14 million contract with the Buccaneers. Not like crazy in terms of a commitment, but also just enough to make you think maybe they draft someone, maybe they're not done. And if it's just the two of them, then perhaps Kenny Gainwell is a very, very legit handcuff with premier upside. If Bucky ever goes down, I would want the Bucs running back. Remember, Tristan Wirfs, their left tackle last year, started the season injured, never quite 100% given the full context, and Tristan Wirfs definitely one of the better left tackles in the NFL. So that O-line will improve, and their GM knows what he's doing in the draft. Kenny Gainwell, not bad. Bucky Irving, fine, but compared to Kenneth Walker, I sure assume you hope to have drafted Walker well above Bucky Irving in the ADPs. Let's move on as we continue to scroll up. Nothing too crazy until we hit Tyler Algier, finds a home with the Cardinals on a 2-year, $12.25 million contract. So less of an investment financially than the Kenny Gainwell signing, and we consider this fairly legit. So maybe James Conner is somewhat relevant. This nukes Trey Benson. I was pretty convinced last year when Benson couldn't beat out Amari DiMercato. Benson might just be trash, and I think this is full confirmation. I'm glad I didn't draft much of Benson. I think I had like 1.5%, maybe 2.7% Trey Benson up to this point. So that's going to be a player I just remove from the board entirely. Watch him go undrafted by mid-May. Travis Etienne, though, the new lead back in New Orleans. That's what I was really hoping for Jeremiah Love. I thought that was one of the best options for the rookie first-round pick. And for Etienne to scoop that up, that's pretty ideal. I think the Saints have some of the most valuable touches up for grabs. They have a kind of underrated offensive line. And then Kellen Moore has just been really dealing in terms of fantasy production. I do think this helps Etienne. I think he's a clear round 3 pick. I wish I had not been like trying to get a good value on Etienne earlier in February when I was drafting. I was kind of just like waiting to get a good value, and a lot of times I got sniped. So I wish I was just taking Etienne straight up late 3rd, and he feels like he will be moving up. I do think you can mix him in, even if you want to pull him up. Let's say you have Bijan or Gibbs at the 1-2 turn, or at the 2-3 turn, pardon me. I don't think Etienne in the 3rd round at picks 25, 26 is egregious. It's at least unique. I don't think it's terrible. And for the moment, I do think Kamara is kind of undraftable. Maybe he signs elsewhere, but I'm not quite sure Kamara has much safety because he's reportedly said if he's not playing for the Saints, he doesn't want to play for anyone. But maybe that was just a bargaining chip so he didn't get traded. I don't know what to make of Kamara at the moment, but I'm pretty averse. I haven't clicked Kamara at all this winter. Yeah, let's call it winter. Wan'Dale Robinson joins the Titans. That's interesting. Probably their clear-cut number 1. Maybe Ridley's getting cut. That feels appropriate. I'm not drafting Ridley at all. I do have a lot of Chimera DK, and that kind of screws it. So maybe some similar roles. Wan'Dale did play for Kentucky, so kind of goes back to some roots of his. Not a bad signing. And they had a lot of money. He's fine, but definitely the Brian Dable connection with a good quarterback, perhaps the best quarterback play of his career with Cam Ward. That's definitely possible. Maybe Wandale is a very good click. I don't think I've been drafting very much of him, but this is a very sneaky signing. Not an insane commitment. 2 years, $15 million. That's nothing like what Jalen Naylor got. But Jahan Dotson is live to be the number 2 receiver in Atlanta. That is at least a spot with a lot of open routes to be run. Will they turn into targets? I don't know. Will they be catchable targets? I don't know. Will it go to Olamide Zaccheaus? I don't know. But Jahan Dotson, I don't think is the most egregious player to pull up in round 20 that previously we weren't drafting at all. I don't think he's egregious, but only 7.5 mil per year. Not like truly elite. He at least has a chance to make something happen in Atlanta. If you have Penix or Tua, I guess you could justify it maybe 3-4% of the time. Previously, he was a 0%. Jalen Naylor, though, huge winner from round 20. Our boy Jiri Football has been hyping up Jalen Naylor. I think I have a team we drafted on his live with Jalen Naylor. I think we pulled him up even in round 19 just to get him. So shout out Jiri. I'm sure he's happy with his Jalen Naylor investment. And I thought that money would go to Rashid Shaheed. So a little bit shocked about that. And Jalen Naylor, tied with Mendoza, definitely a draftable player. He'll be moving up the board for sure. But Mike Evans, the news I'm proudest of in terms of my pre-free agency exposures, I'm at 22% Mike Evans up until today. I've drafted once on Huhaim's draft. I was in that lobby watching in the chat. And today we will go over a team with Mike Evans after we finish scrolling up and update you on all the news. But not too many other like huge names. Alvin Kamara, Dorsha on lead role in New Orleans. So he might be moving on. That's something to keep an eye on. What if Kamara goes to Seattle? What if he goes to Seattle? Because Seattle's this huge question mark right now. They're not going to be drafting Jeremiah Love. Could a rookie go there? I would assume so. I don't know what they're going to do, but they just let their Super Bowl MVP walk out the door. Could Kamara help them in the early part of the season while they wait for Zach Charbonnet, who I'm sure is in their long-term plans, but obviously coming off an injury? It is a very, very interesting landing spot. Maybe Kamara is sneaky for Seattle. We do have Keaton Mitchell not given a contract by the Ravens yet. We'll see about him. He's a backup that's going to go somewhere else, most likely. But J.K. Dobbins, here we go. J.K. Dobbins. This is the bet I've been hoping for. I drafted a lot of J.K. Dobbins in the 120s, even pulled him up in the 115 region of the draft. I have a lot of J.K. Dobbins. So that thankfully is going to work out. I was operating as if he was set to return to Denver, and that's why I was never drafting R.J. Harvey. I think Dobbins is more of an advanced piece, going to be a legit 14-point, 16-point contribution every now and then. Problem is he will get injured inevitably. That's just kind of the case with Dobbins. So we'll see how long he lasts, but 2-year deal. He's been staying a little bit healthier last couple seasons. I mean, he played like 13, 14 games with the Chargers 2 years ago, and then I think he made it 10 weeks with Denver and was way, way better than R.J. Harvey. He was averaging over 5 yards per carry. Meanwhile, Harvey averaged 3.8. So Dobbins is pretty secure. Once they missed out on ETN, Dobbins is their guy. That's a great click. He should be moving up the board. I think you can take him around Rico Dowdle, honestly. I don't think it's egregious. I think Dobbins closer to pick 100. I guess Dowdle will be moving up. So I think you can literally reach 2 rounds on Dobbins, and it's not crazy. But for now, if we're going to reach only 1 round, and we'll see if, people are taking him higher than that. If not, he will fall to our team. But like we mentioned, good opportunity for Jahan Dotson, hypothetically, if he can make the most of it, because Darnell Mooney was released, and they just don't have that many other options. But Austin Hooper also heads over there. If Pitts ever goes down, maybe Hooper is interesting. But Pitts, probably very legit. Tua does reach an agreement with the Falcons. League minimum, $1.3 million. Good spot for him, given Penix probably going to give him some time early on. no expectations with Tua. If he plays well, everyone's excited. And then he is a lefty, so the system does fit very well. So he's probably just a career backup at this point, but I think a good spot for him in the short term with Atlanta. We do have Gardner Minshew joining Arizona. So Jacoby Brissett, his stock is rising. We'll see what they do moving forward. But if anything, I think they've seen enough with Brissett as like a clear bridge. This is not the year they're going to compete. And for fantasy, I think it's wheels up for Trey McBride and especially Michael Wilson. We do have a confirmation there with Kelsey that we hinted at earlier in the video. Xavier Scott re-signed with the Vikings. That's sneaky. That is sneaky. No one is drafting Xavier Scott. And love Jordan Mason as much as you want. He's much more talented. But if they don't address the position any further, Xavier Scott is so much better in the passing category. Jordan Mason just can't contribute in that regard. That's the problem I have with Jordan Mason. He does not contribute in the passing game. There's almost no games on his game log ever for Jordan Mason with more than 2 receptions, and for him to go over 1 is quite a odd thing. It's definitely bizarre compared to the rest of his games log. So Xavier Scott is someone that could potentially get you 6 or 7 catches, or at least targets in catch-up mode. And at the moment, he is the Vikings RB2. Probably not going to draft him today, but if they don't make another move, Xavier Scott, a player to keep in mind in round 20. Rashid Shaheed staying in Seattle. That's a bummer, honestly. I was kind of pretty much operating as if he was leaving. That's weird because they mainly use him for kick returns. That's unfortunate. I don't like that for my Torrey Horton investment. I have both Shaheed and Horton kind of high in terms of share percentage, and I just assumed Shaheed would leave. So that's a bummer. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And unfortunately, that's what happened. So Kendrick Bourne scooped up by Arizona. Probably doesn't move the needle at all. Rico Dowdle headed to Pittsburgh. I saw someone miss this news in the only draft I did today. I saw someone pull up Jalen Warren pick 55 because they just did not see the Rico Dowdle news apparently. So Rico Dowdle, definitely my preferred option of the two. We saw a pretty fair involvement between the two, but Dowdle reunites with Mike McCarthy. Underrated reunion there, and did catch a lot of passes in that system. So I think he could catch maybe not 50 receptions, but last year we saw Gainwell get 70 plus targets. Like that could legitimately happen for Rico Dowdle, especially if they don't really have that many new players coming in. But Pittman probably eats into that. Pittman, I definitely think, is a bigger riser in terms of target share. Maybe not from last year, but one of the biggest values in Pittsburgh, I think, is Michael Pittman and Rico Dowdle. I think at running back right now, I'm trying to get Rico Dowdle instead of Jalen Warren. And then at receiver, I think I'm trying to get a Michael Pittman stack if I'm going Aaron Rodgers as opposed to DK Metcalf. I think they should probably be drafted almost like back-to-back in many instances at those positions. But at the moment, give me the cheaper one, give me Dowdle, and give me Pittman in Pittsburgh at the moment. Interesting, Pittsburgh has Pittman Jr. Anyways, is there anything else that's like worth mentioning? Not too much. Yeah, we reached the top. We literally reached the top already. So, all right. A bit of a speed run, 20 minutes into the live stream. We've caught you up on all of the news. Let's hit the refresh button just in case there's something that happened. I doubt it, but just for good measure. Tyquan Thornton. Yo, I've been thinking about this. Tyquan Thornton returning to Kansas City. This is the click. This is the round 20 backstack with Mahomes we're looking for. Hell yeah. I think there's a chance that Hollywood comes back too, but I really wanted Tyquan to come back. I think that is the quickest path to routes. Who Hames? Absolutely. I think I brought him up with, forget if it was Jiri or maybe it was with Candyman. I think it was on Candyman's stream. I think I brought up Tyquan, but I called him Dante. It was Thornton, and just evaded me for a while. But Tyquan, there we go. 2-year, $11 million deal. That's for the Chiefs who never pay up. That's kind of legit. $5.5 million from the Chiefs. I am in on Taekwon. Let's have a brief. I'm so glad I hit the refresh button. Fuck yeah. Very valuable news. 2025. How old is he? Taekwon turns 26 in September, so still pretty young. 6'2", 185. Drafted to the Patriots. We know that's a shit show. For him to get out of there, good for him. But look at this game log, everyone. 9 targets, 5 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Week 3 at the Giants. The week prior against the Eagles, 5 targets, 2 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown. That is 12.9 points on 2 catches. We have another game against Jacksonville, 3 for 90. That's 11.5 points with no touchdown. Another game with a 61-yard catch that could have easily turned into a house call. There were a few instances where like house calls were about to click. So it was all a quick stretch when Xavier Worthy was hurt, when he did find the end zone. But there's a connection there. There's chemistry pre-existing. And Mahomes is going to be trying to recover from a torn ACL for quite some time. So I think Taekwon is our round 20 swing when we are drafting Patrick Mahomes. And with Kelsey returning, Walker signed, I think it's a pretty big lock. Mahomes is coming back. Mahomes will play, and they're going for, a shot at redemption. They were terrible last year, and they don't want to go out that way with Kelsey. So Taekwon, love Taekwon as a stash. I'd much rather go Taekwon than Jahan Dotson, but we did mention Jahan as another name in that pool. We weren't drafting up to this point, and now you can at least lobby for it, and it's not egregious. Okay. Before we go to our first draft, I just wanted to take one quick victory lap on this team. I drafted February 21st with Brock Purdy, Mike Evans, and an insane value on David Montgomery. I did draft this on the live stream. If you want to check it out, it's the second draft I did, the one with Jonathan Taylor on the thumbnail. We pulled the 107, and we went Christian McCaffrey, Jeremiah Love to start in rounds 1 and 2. Our quarterbacks are Justin Herbert, right at ADP. Brock Purdy, we did pull up by 7 picks, but we got him. Aaron Rodgers, right at ADP, pick 210. Running backs, like I mentioned, CMC, Jeremiah Love, but here's where it gets juicy. David Montgomery is my RB3, and the pick I took him at is 127. I got him 19 spots behind ADP when it was 108. I got a massive fall, round 11, on David Montgomery, who is now going in the 6th round. Fucking love it. This is why you draft early, my friends. You get a value like this, and it all works out. Our RB4 is James Conner. We did get him at pick 151. Not sure that's super valuable, but I did take Rachaad White back when he had an ADP of 163. I got him right there at 162. Good luck getting Rachaad White these days. Past pick 150, 155 is the absolute cutoff point I've seen. If anything, Rashaad's being pulled up into the 130s quite often. And then I did take Jordan James just for good measure as the current Niners handcuff. Watch them sign someone. Watch Jordan James just not ever get that job all to himself. But in the final round, I think it works. The receiver room, though, A.J. Brown, round 3. Devontae Adams, round 4. Christian Watson, round 5. But Mike Evans with the Brock Purdy stack. Love it. Love to see it. So happy. Right at ADP, pick 66. This is why you draft early on. Before free agency, make some bets. I have 22% Mike Evans as my favorite team, where I did find an Evans-Purdy stack before it did happen. We got Romeo Doubs, pick 138. He's been rising. He will sign soon enough. I believe he will be moving up. But if he does go to Denver, that's unfortunate. I'd be a bit bummed out if he goes to Denver, but I'm still Dobbs at ADP well above Cortland Sutton. I think he'd be the more valuable Broncos receiver. We got Trey Harris super late, Trey Tucker, so double Trey. Not bad. Then a pick I really don't care for, especially now, but Calvin Austin, at least he's the deep threat guy. I don't think his job is too much in question with the addition of Pittman. I think Calvin Austin's job is going to stay the same in Pittsburgh. But our tight end room is Oronde Gadsden stacked up with Herbert, pick 103. We do have George Kittle, we took at 114, is stacked with Purdy, but a little worried about his injury risk. And then we did take Kelsey at a value you're just never going to see ever again. Now that he's signed, pick 175 is by far one of the lowest prices anyone's ever going to pay. I was super in on Kelsey. If you were watching this channel in February, we were taking him almost every single draft. Had him, I believe at the moment, let's check the full exposure. Some of these I'm really happy with. We have Kelsey as our highest drafted tight end, tied with Dallas Goedert at 17.1%. 12 shares of Kelsey through 70 drafts. 17.1% on Travis Kelsey. Was that with you? The one I just went over, sadly no. Sadly no, Who Hames. That one was an individual. I know we drafted Kelsey on a team together, though. I'm sure that was definitely the case. Let's check our war room real quick, Who Hames. Let's check the war room. We had Allen and Cam Ward, Jeremiah Love, DeAndre Swift, Algier at 104. That's not bad. Kenny G, 128. Dobbins on that team at 137. Fuck yeah. Running back room is solid. Emmanuel Wilson, Najee Harris. We'll see how that goes. But then receiver, Amon-Ra, Mike Evans. We got at pick 65. Alec Pierce, pick 80. Huge contract for him. Even though we didn't get the stack right, that feels okay. We got Denzel Boston. He's been falling much later, so that's whatever. But then we did get Josh Downs as well, pick 161. He's a riser. Maybe we missed on Kemary DK, but remember the days when you can get Omar Cooper at 185? Glad we took him there. We did take Torrey Horton at 200. Meh, that's whatever. We knew the risk. Malik Washington at 233. With Malik Willis, double Malik W in Miami. Who knows? Maybe that's not bad. And then our tight end room is fucking just straight fire with Loveland and Laporta. Yo, if the only thing missing is if we got DJ Moore, but like considering everything, like, you know, beggars can't be choosers. We are still pretty dope despite not landing our Josh Allen stack. I think you can have Josh Allen unstacked and get away with it. We have Cam Ward, not with Wandale. If only we took Wandale instead of Denzel Boston. Maybe that was the only thing this team really missed. But that was a dope team. Anyways, done bragging. We were in a lobby with Who Hames when he was live with the Dog Pound. We had the 108. And I just want to point out, not going to go over the team. You can check out that video if you want to. But just a hilarious moment when the team ahead of me in the 5th round took Jaylen Warren, pick 55. When Warren has literally been falling. Like a few days ago, I literally got Jaylen Warren 87. And someone pulled him up to 55 right in front of me. I did pair up DJ Moore right there with Josh Allen. I did take Kenneth Walker, pick 17. So heads up on future drafts. I do think that's a fine price. Let's see what happens in this one. Let's try a little board. Let's see what the little board is cooking up. Those streets got to be weird, and today's definitely a day I'd be fine. I hopped into a little board, 10 spots left. We're not going to wait more than 2 minutes. I promise you, if this little board does not fill fast, we will head out. And at 8:30 on the dot, I will join a big board. The traction is not budging. I know a lot of people have maxed the little board. That sucks. But I know that shit's going to be weird because you're going to get a lot of new drafters when you enter a little board lobby. But maybe it's still wise to save them for like a couple weeks from now. Like there's still some people just being reminded about like their desire to play best ball. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime there's a big news cycle with the NFL, there's going to be more people that are like, all right, I'll do my first best ball draft. And they haven't seen the board at all. They have never seen the board before. That's what you want to save some of those little board entries for. So I am not kidding. I'm literally going to move over to a big board at 8:30 on the dot. So unless this fills in the next like 30 seconds, very unlikely. We'll see. But I do think it's wise to, when you have some little boards, to just see if they're eligible, because like this is the peak window, because there's still a few things that haven't been decided. There's still a few things that like haven't settled in terms of ADP, and like this is a very, very interesting window to be drafting. So I have 5 left in the little board, and it is 8:30, so we are going to leave. Just a reminder though, use those little boards that you've saved in the next 10-14 days. I think that's really the peak timing, as we get a few more pieces of information. So not the little board again, my bad. Big board is what we're doing. I am hopping in. No countdown today. 4 spots left. If you want it, come get it. Who wants the smoke? Josh says, I noticed when I saw Malik Willis on Packers, he would rush it himself, avoiding Josh Jacobs and Wilson running backs. If this recipe is this recipe for disaster for Devon Achane and Malik Willis, it's not the best case scenario. It's even the contract, it's reminiscent of Justin Fields' impact on Breece Hall. Maybe not to the same extent, because Fields is even more known as like a tuck it and run, never checking it down. Malik Willis, I still think, will be distributing the ball, and Achane is like literally their best asset. Like their new, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna Google this, but Dolphins OC, and then I don't want the AI thing. Just give me Bobby Slowick. Heads up, if anyone doesn't like the AI overview, like sometimes it's valuable, but if you don't, just type in -AI and you don't get it. It just doesn't come up. Heads up, in case you don't like it. Sometimes I keep it in, sometimes I totally forget to type it in, but ever since I discovered that, sometimes I don't want the AI overview. So heads up, Bobby Slowick, according to Wikipedia, is the Dolphins offensive coordinator, and he is someone that runs the ball like crazy. We get the 10 slot. I'm perfectly fine on this side of the board. I don't give a shit where we're drafting. Happy with the 10. I see Lolsimo in at the 8. I feel like I recognize Ghost FF. We have fucking Alpha at 12. That's funny. Turbotron at number 9, Purple Stuff at 11, Jamar Chase, Keenum at the 7, and then I feel like I've recognized the name Swatson. I have no idea if anyone is watching other than perhaps Lolsimo. Lolsimo is the only other person I think would be watching that might be drafting with me. But if you are in here, let me know. No worries. If you want to just lurk, I mean, I suppose there is an advantage to that, but I don't care. Jamie wasn't a little bored. Yeah, just couldn't afford to wait too long. I don't want to be sitting in that lobby for another 5 minutes. Malik Willis rushes so much. But interesting Malik Willis to Malik Washington connection. Might be underrated. But now that we are drafting, let's drop some music on the other side of the smoke break. All right. If I was the Raiders, I would draft Jeremiah Love to help out Genty and sign Mac Jones, quarterback. It's hard to trust Mendoza after what happened to J.J. McCarthy. I think I firmly disagree with this take. I think in a division like the one you have, you need the best player at the most important position. Today, though, we will take James Cook here at the 110. Love James Cook. Nothing bad is going to come out of free agency for James Cook. There is literally nothing that can happen to James Cook that will butcher his ADP. Unless he gets hurt in training camp, there's pretty much nothing I think can happen. I don't see them as a team that's going to draft someone. They got Ray Davis and Ty Johnson under contract for one more year. Just don't see it. They gave him a big contract, going to get as many touches out of him as possible. And I think with a lot of needs on defense and at receiver, they had a lot of injuries last year on defense. That's just not really anything that I have a concern with. But we're just going to take my favorite start. Are we? Only other consideration is to pull up K9. Fuck it. I have a lot of James Cook and Hampton. I'm not saying I have Walker ranked above Hampton, but we are taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Running back 9 off the board. And Walker is absolutely in this running back 8 through 12. There's an argument he could even be top 6. He's an Andy Reid running back with only Rashard Smith behind him. Like, what more do you want? Mahomes is hurt. I'm at least going to get different. I have so many James Cook Hampton starts. I have so many of them. And they're always pick 9 or later. So, like, the odds that any of them have Walker are super slim. Unless it's a team where I pulled up James Cook to, like, the 6th or 7th pick. There's really no comparison in the difference this roster has with the combination of James Cook and Walker versus James Cook and Hampton. In terms of my portfolio, is it correct? I still believe Hampton and James Cook are 2 of the safest picks you can have early in rounds 1-2, but I don't see an extremely different tier break between Hampton and Walker. This signing for him kind of confirms that they're going to address the offensive line as they need to, so that'll help him. I trust Andy Reid. Eric Bieniemy is a running back from his college days. Like, the running back room had suffered after Bieniemy left, and there's just so much opportunity. Big contract too. Round 2, perfectly fine to take him. I'm 100% Walker over Barkley. I'm not sure I'm Walker over Derrick Henry. I still think you can pull up Derrick Henry, and that's the same type of thing. Like, Henry anywhere in the second I think is fine. If you want to pull him at the 12-13, go like Hampton Henry. That's not crazy either. Walker Henry is now interesting, but you also have to compete with all the teams with Walker Henry that have Puka. So not sure I would be doing that. That feels like a losing battle. But yeah, Walker is 100% in the round 2 tier, and you can pull him up in anywhere, and I think it's fine. Especially these days where, like, the combinations, especially towards the end, are not as common. Like, there's going to be more Taylor teams that also have Walker in the 3rd. There's going to be fewer teams that have Genty that also have Walker, because he just doesn't make it back in the 3rd.
Nice and low.
Josh says AJ Brown, Romeo Dobbs, Kyler Murray still need to sign on new teams, hoping for tomorrow. There's still a lot of time. There's still literally until day 1 of the draft. I believe anything can change. I still believe anything can happen. Am I that in on Walker? I just see that tier so similarly. And yeah, at the moment, I'm Walker over Saquon. So yeah, I think it's fine. Carreras is Mark Andrews' volume going up now that Isaiah Likely is on the Giants? Probably. That's the logical assumption. But I think similar to my take on this comment, there's still a lot of time left. And I have not seen Andrews be convincingly good enough to not feel like that team wants a backup. Don't usually take him, but this is the price. We get him a little behind ADP. We will go Tet McMillan, hoping for a year 2 leap. He should be better than last year. Did go over 1,000 yards. Not as productive as I thought. Jalen Coker, I think, is my preferred way to attack this receiver room. I don't see a... There is a difference. I'm not going to say that they're the same. There's a big difference. Ted is much better. But is the price worth a 3rd round pick versus a 10th round pick? Sometimes 11th round pick between Tedero McMillan and Jalen Coker. Not convinced that price disparity is correct. But Allen did go at pick 25. Recently, I've adopted the mindset Allen's ADP is 29. If I ever get him at pick 30 or later, I'm just taking Allen. If Allen is ever at the top of ADP after pick 30, he's on my team. That is my new mantra when it comes to round 3, back half. All right, James Cook, Kenneth Walker. Don't think I'm gonna go that egregious, but at the moment, Ladd McConkey has survived. Let's go Ladd McConkey. Also, slightly behind ADP. Hard to pass up a Chargers wide receiver 1 for the moment. But I do think there's a lot of variables that can still affect Ladd McConkey's value. He feels a little bit like Luther Burden, where his spike week value is so great. He's performed well in like a week 17 payout, so it's kind of fresh in our minds. And obviously we want a piece of that offense. So Ladd McConkey, very legit price, but last year he was only going like 12 picks earlier. I guess at one point he was going to like 20 picks earlier. Yeah, at one point he was like pick 19. Not even close to paying off. Not even close. So I do think that offense spreads it around more than people like to acknowledge. And one of the reasons why my ADP favors QJ at the moment, but I'm trying to even that out. Mike Evans now officially a 4th round pick. All right. I'll take him every now and then, but as someone who is just hammering Mike Evans in the 6th round everywhere I could, 22% Evans, I'm probably going to cool it a little bit on his new updated price. But you could probably pull him up where I took Ladd. It's not crazy. Not egregious. But the Allen drafter did not take DJ Moore. Went Adams, Carnell Tate, Shouty, 247. Josh has got to find out if Kareem Hunt and Pacheco getting traded. They're pretty irrelevant to me, man. They're not on my radar at all. Really not registering. If I were gonna guess on who might have a shot to come back, it's Kareem Hunt, just because of the familiarity and some actual production out of him. But yeah, really not on my radar at all at the moment. Mark Twain says Jacobs looks like such great value in the middle of the 3rd. He's fine. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's elite. I think it's fine. Some slightly odd vibes with him coming off of last year. Not as productive as the year before, that's for sure. Still a touchdown monster, so can't pretend like he's not a good click. There's a lot of safety with him, but there's also this weird ominous vibe that they might want to move off soon. Odd vibe, but something to be mindful of. Not a bad backstop, especially as Walker gets pulled out of the 3rd by me. Watson goes. I'm just going to take the receiver safety net with DJ Moore. Not many receivers I trust on the board. I think Sutton should be much less coveted. I think Sutton's too pricey. And I know I'm going to want DJ Moore with the next pick. Meanwhile, neither team behind me had more receivers than me. And to give them both 2 picks and the expectation that they pass twice is pretty naive. So I will take DJ Moore. I think legitimately the best pick remaining at the position. His price was higher earlier in this contest. I already have a lot of DJ Moore. I believe I have him at 18.6%. I drafted a shit ton of DJ Moore with a cheaper ADP, but I'm all in the 5th, especially late 5th. With Thomas off the board, Rome off the board, even Lemon went pick 51. Not going to fuck around. Evans is no longer available. Evans was my round 6 backstop. Tootin goes pick 61. RJ Harvey taken. We're going to take Cam Scadaboo, underrated winner of today in free agency with no signing. We have a James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Cam Scadaboo start. Round 6 Scadaboo. Let's get in at this price. Now I'm more comfortable, but still behind RJ Harvey. That's pretty solid. RJ Harvey still feels kind of overpriced, so behind RJ Harvey at the least. And when he was like early round 4, I just wasn't quite. I took him once or twice. You can believe it, and he's talented enough to convince yourself there's a chance, but like it always felt like it was too expensive. And as he fell through the 5th, I still let him fall. In the 6th, with the long turn set to take place, he's not going to be there at 82. And they did not bring in Kenneth Walker. Maybe they bring in Rashad White. Doubt it. But once he's healthy, I don't really think they're going to have a more talented running back on the team than Scadaboo. So here's the draft, how it started. James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Tet McMillan. There's at least fewer teams that have the combination of Walker and Tet McMillan, that it still remains slightly unique. But in general, I'm taking Hampton there 100% of the time. Have I updated my ranks where Hampton is below Walker? No. But I want the slightly different build. I have a shit ton of James Cook Hampton starts, and we're getting different with James Cook and Kenneth Walker, who I do think is a second-round pick. Tet at the 310, Ladd at the 403, DJ Moore in the 5th round, and then Scadaboo circles back, pick 63. We have a balanced start. No quarterbacks yet. It was kind of undervalued in this lobby, other than the Josh Allen pull at pick 25. Lamar fell to pick 56, the team with Flowers. Lolsimo got a pretty dope start. Honestly, Lolsimo's team is pretty fire. But I pass on QB. So far, we've only seen Daniels, Burrow, and Drake May taken. The team at 2 went Bijan, Henry, and then 5 straight receivers with Pickens, Igbuka, Terry, Parker Washington, and Alec Pierce. They have yet to take a quarterback. Jalen Hurts goes unstacked. That's fine. But do me a favor, 19 viewers, 12 likes. Hit that like button if you can, if you haven't done so already. Show this live stream some love. We went through a very condensed, concise update on all of the free agent news at the top of this video. Every single relevant signing in under 20 minutes. And now we're drafting. Do me a favor, hit that like button for your boy. But Warren goes pick 80 to Lolsimo. Much better than pick 55. A few days ago, got Warren at pick 87. We could take Fannin, but instead, Herbert falls back. We do have Ladd McConkey, Ladidi. Don't hate that. Let's take a quarterback. Neither of these two teams have their quarterback, so let's get the preference before it's too late. A little worried that that team with Omarion Hampton might scoop him up, but they go Tucker Kraft. That's fine. I'll take Herbert, pick 82. Used to be that if you wanted Herbert on this side of the board, you had to pull him up in the 6th round. I'm really glad that you can afford to wait until round 7 now and get your guy. But Myers does go to the team with Lawrence. Maybe should have seen that coming. Perhaps I kind of wanted Myers, but it's not the end of the world. Not at all. Mahomes gets taken. Could have stacked him up with Walker. I've been a fan of that landing spot. I will take Tyler Algier. Arizona running back has been an interesting spot. So we're really strong at running back. I think I need to really cool it for a while, but that was kind of the plan. I like some upcoming receiver values, and I think we could actually get kind of sneaky with who's available on the board. Might get a good value for stacking purposes, but I think it can circle back in our favor if we get a little bit ahead of the room on running back, because there's some teams I know were kind of thin at RB. Like the team with Jacobs doesn't have a second. The teams at the 2, 3, 4 only have 2 running backs up to this point, so they might get a little desperate soon. And then it just feels like this long turn over the course of the draft will get a little bit more trigger happy on the green selections. So perhaps I'm investing too much, but with Scattaboo, I'm happy to take a little bit more safety with another starter. But Josh says, imagine if Bijan plays better with Tua now on the Falcons. That'd be kind of crazy, but Tua does check it down like crazy. Not terrible for Bijan's receptions potential. Josh says Theo Johnson and Isaiah Likely teams up on Giants. I prefer Likely. Theo Johnson, interesting, but I still prefer Isaiah Likely with that coaching staff. Josh says Wan'Dale Robinson on Titans is cool. I think it's pretty solid. He goes pick 96. That would have been a candidate to take there instead of Algier, but Shoddy gets him, pick 96. Not bad. They pulled up Rico Dowdle, pick 73. That's the highest price I've seen on Rico Dowdle, and it is higher than Jalen Warren in this lobby. That's pretty interesting. Not the worst stance to take. I don't hate it. I just thought we would be getting Dowdle in the 8th round, honestly. But pick 73, you're not going to get him at the 8-9 turn. So very valid player to pull up, I guess, in that spot. But we knew today was going to be fun, but wow, that was quite a bit of players changing teams for day one. Yeah, a lot of moving parts. Scattaboo in 6th round is class. As long as what happened today holds, as long as the Giants aren't actually bringing in anyone in, we're in good shape. But send this video to your friends. Definitely some valuable information up top. Won't Tyrone Tracy Jr. value go up now since Scattaboo is out? Am I missing something on Scattaboo? I mean, it's the same take that we've had all February, as far as I'm concerned. Like, Scattaboo's coming back from injury. Once he's healthy, I think he's their guy. Tracy is a legit value, but then he started to fall with some major Kenneth Walker rumors to the Giants. That was, in my opinion, the bigger reason why he was falling. I did feel like his value was a little too high where it was. He deserved to fall. But now that that's kind of out of the way, I'm willing to get in at Scattaboo on this new price. In the 6th round, the upside's worth it to me. Worthy goes. Stafford still available. Interesting. Can't go Jadarian Price. I might just go Stafford. Fairly legit fall. The best fantasy quarterback, just the most points of anyone left on the board. Can put up top 3 numbers any given week. Has Adams, gonna throw a bunch of 3 touchdown games. Has Puka. Like, what's not to like about Stafford? Which team had Adams that passed? Oh, all the way at the bookend there. And then the team with Puka had Drake mate Tyler Shuck without Olave. Very, very interesting. Over Stafford. A little wild. What's purple stuff gonna do? Goes Gadsden. That's fine. Not who I wanted at all. I'll take Jalen Coker. We have Tet and Jalen Coker. But receivers starting to feel a bit more of a pressure cooker to know that the late round values of DJ Moore, Mike Evans are just not there anymore. And then like everyone's kind of just more expensive. Receivers getting a bit more sharp. Alec Pierce going still at the same price. That kind of baffles me. We'll see about that in the long term. But yeah, we'll see about that. But Evans in round 4, pretty fair, pretty legit. Niners receiver 1, so that's pretty fair. Huhaim says Scatterboo expected to be back by training camp. Yeah, no worries. If you want to laugh, watch the Righteous Gemstones series, man. Almost on 2nd season of it. I got to add it to the queue. I started Severance. I'm 2 episodes in on Severance. And then I'm also trying to keep up with Survivor as well. And normally I don't really watch too many things. So at the moment, there's a free trial for Apple TV, or some trial that's going to expire sooner than everything else. So that's kind of at the top of the queue. I'm going to finish Severance before anything else. Then I'll probably catch up with Survivor. I'm sure I'll finish Severance before Survivor is over, season 50. But absolutely. Look, every clip I've seen from anything Danny McBride related always delivers. Just hilarious. What's up, young Moolah? Let's go. Let's go. We'll finish the pipe. Not much left. But interesting what has happened at receiver in this room. Denzel Boston does go. Not going to get the value on Denzel Boston, but don't hate taking Jaden Higgins. There is Debo. Shaheed's no longer a good click, so I think I'm going to get in before I get screwed. And I think I'm going to prefer Debo over Jaden Higgins. Just a little bit more proven. Jaden Higgins goes right after. And then Shaheed gets taken out of desperation, I suppose. But good to not need running back in this range anymore. Definitely not an exciting zone for running back at the moment. Stroud gets taken. I've seen him get sniped a bunch of times. I'm just going to take who I think is the correct pick. We are looking at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, tight end 12 off the board. Travis Kelce. That feels appropriate. You can, in some ways, when you think about Travis Kelce, it feels like he's washed. But that is purely because when you compare him to who he was, like even just 3 years ago, it's clearly not the same caliber talent. Like he's clearly fallen off a little bit. But when you compare him to the rest of the league, you could argue he's still like tight end 5, tight end 6, maybe tight end 8. He put up 155 points last year. He was legit from a total point standpoint. So as my tight end 1, I'm not going to be upset with this. The Mahomes team did pass. So there was a chance that people neglected him. But I've seen Kelce get taken with the first pick of the 11th round at pick 121 already. I've seen him get sniped. So with the long term coming and the tight end rush absolutely on its way, I'm a team with no tight end. There are other teams in this lobby with no tight end, most notably Team 2, who just took Cam Ward. I assume taking blue right here. Maybe they pass. Maybe they push. Goes JCM. Yep, pushes again. But then there's also the team at 12 that doesn't have a tight end either. So we did see Kittle, Sadiq, Goddard, and now likely off the board. Sadiq as tight end sleeper. I like his upside. His ADP quickly rose after the combine and then kind of settled back where it was. It didn't seem like there was that much of an impact. I thought there would be more, but I'm sure once he gets drafted first round, he will be rising. Definitely a sleeper. But I liked him to go to the Ravens, and then now with the Max Crosby trade, isn't there just no first-round pick for the Ravens anymore? I'm not quite sure where he can go where I'm like super excited. I suppose the Niners is interesting. Niners is possible, but is he going to be available that late in the 20s? I don't think so. Maybe Minnesota, but they restructured TJ Hawkinson, so that'd be odd. Yeah, I'm not so sure what to make of Sadiq in terms of landing spots that will pay off. A little bit unsure about that, in all honesty. Jets would fucking suck, and I think the Jets are actually on the table. But yeah, Andrews goes. I will take Bryce Young, however. Purple stuff has Mahomes, Stroud, and then fucking Alpha has Lawrence and Bo Nix. I'm gonna go Bryce Young because I have both Coker and Tet McMillan. We have Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, running backs James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Cam Scatterboot, Tyler Algier, Tet McMillan, Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore, Jalen Coker, Deebo Samuel, and then Travis Kelce. So a little bit thin at pass catcher, really strong at running back, fucking elite at running back, looking great at quarterback. And then if I am going to take Bryce Young, this is definitely the type of room where I want to be doing that. Both Tet and Coker feels kind of gross, honestly. Doesn't feel very safe, but it is what it is. If we're going to take a Tet team in the first place, give me a risky one. I don't think Tet is actually like a really good pick in the third. I think you could argue that Mike Evans is a better pick than Tet McMillan. But Kayshon Boutte goes, Hunter Henry goes. That team takes Jerry Jeudy. Hunter Henry, we mentioned, sneaky riser as well with the loss of Austin Hooper. Maybe they bring in a tight end. Maybe they draft Kenyon Sadiq. Doubt it. Don't think they're going to be on the clock when he's available. But this is really nice. This feels pretty good. Juwan Johnson, massive fall off after him at the position. So come on down. Juwan Johnson, our tight end 2. 13 picks past ADP. Beautiful value there on Juwan Johnson. So essentially we got Kelce right at ADP, which that's just a price you're just never going to get anymore. And then we pulled up Juwan Johnson about 11 spots. Also totally justified. Juwan Johnson goes in a range of the draft where there's a lot of question marks, and he actually has a lot of answers in terms of what he delivers. Super, super happy with how this tight end room turned out, honestly. Absolutely fine with Travis Kelce, Juwan Johnson. Waiting till around 12 and 14 to take our guys. Super, super confident with that. But a full reminder on the team, we got a little risky with it with James Cook pulling up Kenneth Walker, but did not expect Walker to circle back. At the receiver position, we took Tet McMillan, Ladd McConkey, DJ Moore in the 5th, Cam Scatterboot in the 6th, Herbert in the 7th to pair with Ladd. Then we grabbed Tyler Algier, so we have 4 starting running backs. We can afford the risk of waiting on Scatterboot. Stafford fell almost 10 picks. That's a really safe selection, in my opinion. Good value, even without a stack yet. Can still backstack him. Then Jalen Coker, another Carolina Panther. Deebo Samuel, because that position kind of dried up quickly. And then Travis Kelce we pulled up. This is the new price, in my opinion. The round 12 ADP, I think, is just where he's going to go now, at minimum, if not higher. And then Bryce Young for that double stack. We did wait on the position. Could have taken Bryce Young there in the 12th, but he did not go by the time Mendoza went off, and then nobody else took quarterback in round 13. Perfect outcome with Bryce Young. Juwan Johnson, the steal of the 14th round, in my opinion, other than I don't know, maybe Emmett Johnson, I suppose. No one really gives me the upside hope with Juwan Johnson in terms of what I know will happen. Sharps is interesting for the fantasy playoffs, but probably not going to play until minimum Halloween, if not later. Walker and Tet. Who were your second and third round picks? Yes. Sorry, missed the chat for a little bit. Also, Fallout Series 3 coming out soon, and The Boys Series 3. I'm smoking THC Hybrid again. I'm on the Indica train at the moment. We're going Platinum Kush at the moment. Tyler Warren, tight end, went late last year, I thought. I've seen him fall. I've seen him been falling lately. Quarterback situation still odd, but losing Pittman definitely kind of helps. Trey Harris sniped. Bummer. In that case,
Nice and blue.
just give me Tank Bigsby. Kamara, I'm not sure. Don't want Braylon Allen. Don't want Katron Allen over Bigsby. Not a fan of Dylan Sampson over Bigsby. I'll take Brian Robinson at times, but yeah, just give me Tank Bigsby. 10 picks above ADP. I don't give a shit. Trey Tucker off the board. All right, receiver feeling a little thin. Not gonna lie. Few concerning trends. Do I just take Kamara and then just slam receiver? Because we did mention at the top, what if Kamara signs with the Seahawks? Pick 183 on Kamara. Door shut on lead role with the Saints. Is he going to retire? I don't think so. We're just done at running back, and this room can afford a 0 with Kamara and can afford to wait on Scatterboo. But if someone gets hurt and Kamara isn't signed, Kamara is the first one anyone's going to call. Kamara falls 30 picks. We got 4 picks left. Our receiver room, maybe not the best, but this is the first time I've ever clicked Kamara. I'm not lying to you. I'm going to prove it right now. We're going to type in Kamara. I guess I was lying to you. This is the second time I've taken Kamara. Okay. This is the second time I have drafted Kamara. My bad. But to be just done, I'll do it. But this will be interesting how these last 4 rounds go, because I also need a tight end. I think I need to take one tight end. I want the Seahawks to sign Kamara since Zach is out. I mean, they're gonna sign someone. It's the most underrated elite landing spot you can think of. It's perfect. Whoever goes to Seattle is gonna fucking dominate for at least the beginning of the year until Sharps comes back. And then Sharps might be one of the best clicks possible, but also might be terrible. It might be George Holani, who you need. So are you guys concerned at all about the price you're paying for K9 in comparison to the teams who got him in late third? Not really. Not that much. Like, I think I'm more in to take K9 on this side of the board at like the pick 10, because there's teams in round 3 that just never get him at pick 34. Walker is going like pick 30 most of the time. So like, especially on this end with a player like James Cook, I think that's less common, and that's just getting different. Am I kind of at a big disadvantage at receiver? Yes, in a way, and there's also the potential that that was just wrong in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of just don't know. It is what it is. Is it probably tough? Probably at this moment in time, it is tougher to land the plane. Yes, but do I feel like I can still do it? Yeah. This lobby was pretty sharp at receiver, though. I feel like receiver actually got much tougher, and now I'm not as confident in doing it again. But I don't think I'm dead either. I think I'll go Kyle Williams. Patriots in an interesting spot. Kyle Williams drafted last year. We are essentially in line with ADP. 8 picks after pick 200 means nothing. Jalen Naylor goes. Bummer. Probably going to go Malik Washington if he's not taken here. And then we're done at running back. It's worth a peek at tight end, but there's Shoddy. Doesn't have a tight end yet. I will go Colby Parkinson. Had 8 touchdowns last year. I know the Tyler Higbee signing is relevant, but we'll go Colby Parkinson. Jerry, yeah, I'm wishing I took Naylor instead, just because I probably would have seen Kyle Williams back around instead of Jalen Naylor there. But I do think Kyle Williams is a very legit click as well. But yes, another snipage on Naylor, unfortunately. Popping in to say what's up. Hope your draft as well. I think it's not bad. I think it's notable. It's interesting. I don't love my Terrell McMillan wide receiver 1 situation, but I don't think it's bad. We have James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Tet, Ladd, DJ Moore. We got Scattaboo at an interesting price. Not taking him very much, but round 6, why not? They did not bring in Walker. And then Herbert to pair with Ladd. Algier for the RB4. Running back's pretty strong. Stafford at a good price. Backstack with Parkinson now. We took Coker, got Bryce Young round 13. We took Debo, pick 130. Pulled up Kelsey, got Juwan Johnson to fall. And then Tank Bigsby, Alvin Kamara at pick 183. Cheapest price I've seen Kamara have, but I could see him in the free agent market later down the line. Still, he might be falling way, way down the list. And then Kyle Williams, Colby Parkinson. But let's go. Jerry, I know you got the Mike Evans CLV, but my 21% K9 feeling good. That's pretty dope. What was my Walker exposure? I was at 15.7%. 15.7. So you had me beat there. But I did have you on Mike Evans. But 21% K9, that's got to feel good. Love to see it. Don't remember that scene. But she looked fire in that movie. She looked good. Back in her prime. Walker Tet versus Walker Jefferson. Fair, but not many teams. I mean, I suppose James Cook, Jefferson, Walker. That's a pretty tough start to get. I suppose it's possible, but haven't seen that too many times. Neighbors and Walker, though. That I've seen. But these last 2 picks, I definitely need a receiver. Feel behind a little bit. It's not the end of the world, but it is a little bit tougher to thread the needle. Who we looking at, though? Gonna scroll down a little bit. On the clock, we mentioned it. Tyquan Thornton, come on down. Our new late round stash at receiver. Tyquan Thornton, baby, signed with the Chiefs. In the middle of our update. Only saw him because we refreshed the page. But Tyquan Thornton, definitely eligible to be taken. And then Mims goes. Didn't really want Mims. Vele, not that interesting. I suppose we could maybe take Leggett. I'm gonna go Konata Mumfield for the hell of it. Probably nothing, but considered Jahan Dotson there. And Tutu Atwell's not with the team. Xavier Smith also had 24 targets. Jordan Whittington, 25. But Konata Mumfield, 10 for 92 and a touchdown. That was a terrible pick. That one was crazy. That one, super random. Felt like I needed a stack. Yeah. Not bad. But not good. It at least has a Rams correlation, but that was pretty random. For sure. Anyways, not every pick is perfect. Not every selection is perfect. Round 20, it is what it is. Wanted to get weird. We pulled up Tyquan. That one made sense. But then I also didn't want to go Jahan Dotson. I felt like going Tyquan and Jahan, a little excessive. Konata at least is a Ram. And we have Stafford. So there it is. BTJ trade rumors heating up. Our bet could be void. That is definitely possible. When you offered it, I kind of felt like the only way it wouldn't work out is if that trade didn't happen and Thomas gets hurt. So I felt like I had a lot of outs with that trade, but sad because I still feel pretty confident that Thomas is a better fantasy click than Parker Washington. But we'll see, man. Still a lot of time. May not happen. May still be live. Young Moolah says BTJ not going anywhere. I sure hope it's not the Jets. That would suck. That would suck. I lost Tucker Kraft and Harold Fannin Jr. with injuries last year. No worries. Yeah, I just checked. I have a Genty Neighbors Walker. See y'all week 15. That feels pretty good. That's dope. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. Maybe we pulled up Walker a little too much, but like I said, I prefer him over Barkley. I have a lot of Cook Hampton teams. I think it's fine. I'm gonna join another big board. Actually, no. Let's try that little board. Let's try the little board. Let's try it. 7 spots. It's 9:19. I'll wait until 9:22. I'll give it 3 minutes. And in the meantime, we're just chilling. But nice team, bro. It was okay. Receiver could have been better. I think we get it out of our system to pull up Walker. But I thought receiver could have been a little better. Yeah, we'll label this one. I haven't labeled most of my drafts, but March 9th. Cook, Walker, Carolina. And then it was streamed. There we go. That little board did fill. That little board filled rather quickly this time. But I just want to take a look at Lolsimo's team real fast. I know Lolsimo was drafting it with us. He got Lamar Jackson with Zay Flowers, so that's going to be hard to beat. Lamar and Dak Prescott, Saquon, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren, Jadarian Price, Emmett Johnson at 161. Joe Mixon, don't love that, but the first 5 are not bad. Maybe not Saquon as much, but I might just be a Barkley hater. Definitely not bad. CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers with the stack. Xavier Worthy, pick 104. Tyreek Hill, good luck there. Elijah Surratt, 185, not bad. Ryan Flournoy with the stack. Brazel and Darnell Mooney. Mooney got released, so at the moment we have no idea with Mooney. Jake Ferguson, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, not a bad tight end room. I got the 107. I see Pollock in here. That's BBG. Maybe he's still live streaming. Perhaps that's the case. Let me verify. I'd imagine that's probably what's going on. But I see the Cobra in here. Yeah, I think he's still live. Yup. All right. I'll let him know in the chat. Whoops. All right. We need more women to get into fantasy football. Definitely skews on one side of the of the gender spectrum for sure. But I'm just not gonna play games. I'm gonna go Amon Ra. All right, and then maybe we mix up the music. Let's fade out on that music, because that's not the only music we got. Let's start something new. Draft number 2 needs a music pivot. Time to lock in. Don't think we're pulling up Walker just because we did that. Not saying it was totally wrong, but probably gonna get a different combination going. That team goes Jefferson and Neighbors. Interesting. Don't see them taken too often together. The team has Lamb and Hampton. That's not bad. Walker does go at pick 17, so I'm not the only one doing it. That's for sure. But I'm not gonna take Saquon. I will take Derrick Henry. What's the latest I'm hearing on Keenan? Is he coming back? There's rumblings about that. Personally, I don't want that to happen. Not really excited about another go around with Keenan. It's fine, but I don't really feel like he's going to be playing for anyone else other than the Chargers, and I kind of felt like he was checking out mentally a little bit. And if Mike Williams didn't get hurt, they weren't really going to bring him back. That at least wasn't the plan. I was in some drafts today where Walker was still going in the 3rd. Yeah, I guess that's the only problem. But there's the argument that applies every single time you're clicking in any round. Who is going to make it back to you? And anyone that doesn't count in that list is eligible for you to take. That's ultimately true for every single time you are on the clock. Who is the best selection among the names that will not come back to me? Last season in my 10-man league, I was listening to Fear Factory music, drafting the Fear Factory. I guess I'm thinking of the Fantasy Factory with Rob Dyrdek. I don't remember the Fear Factory. Maybe just wasn't on my radar. Isn't there that new show with Johnny Knoxville called Fear Factor? I guess that's not Fear Factory though. That's different. What's Ramses gonna do? Is Ramses going trip RB? Goes ETN. I'll take Jacobs then. Divisional correlation. We did not like Tet. We could go T. Higgins, but we have Amon-Ra at least. It's between Higgins and Jacobs. There's probably fewer of those Amon-Ra Jacobs combos, so I'll take Jacobs. We mentioned the vibes are a little bit off with Jacobs, but ultimately he is a correct round 3 pick. Too many touchdowns are just like kind of guaranteed with Jacobs. But we do see Pollock go triple wideout. Shamar, Drake London, AJ Brown. Word. That is what affords us this falling value on Jacobs. That team go to Allen, and then somebody took ETN above Jacobs. It's like a heavy metal anti-government band. I mean, you had me anti-government. Let's go. It was at the 2-3 turn. I took him both times. And then new collector in here. Good evening, my friend. Nice to see you. Oh, it even does that. Wow. You know what I've noticed? The YouTube chat has a lot of filters on it sometimes. Sometimes there's comments that I just don't see because of how it filters the chat. I've been trying to make sure and remember that I pivot to live chat instead of top chat in the settings for the chat box. I feel like that's something I've been trying to factor in. All right, well, perhaps this strategy on drafting a little board with fewer people that know the board maybe didn't quite turn out correctly, but yeah, I'm gonna go Egbuka here. So this is kind of a team that you could be drafting out of like the 3 slot, whereas like instead of Puka we have Amon-Ra. But towards the rest of this lobby, I'm going to be trying to take some players that are on the other side of the board a little bit more often. We could have gone Devontae Smith, that would have been fine, but Ramses gets him. I'm fine pulling up Egbuka though. Egbuka doesn't have to deal with Mike Evans anymore. Definitely younger, more poised to be elite than Chris Godwin is at this time of his career. Godwin, I think, is still a good value. McMillan's still not bad either, but I am still a believer in Egbuka. I've firmly been Egbuka anywhere in the 4th is fine. Appreciate you, Young Moolah. Very much appreciated. We're down to fewer viewers than likes now that we trickle into the later part of the evening. I get it. Some of y'all on the East Coast after midnight, I'm sure can't stay up as late. But appreciate you, Young Moolah. If you haven't done so already, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Appreciate it very much. Helps the channel grow. We do see DJ Moore at pick 49. So last lobby we saw, I took him at 58. He goes pick 49. And that's kind of the logic we mentioned with Walker earlier. If he's not going to come back, you are eligible to take him. Absolutely eligible to do it. But the team at 4 has committed to no run. Scadaboo goes pick 51. We just got him at 63. Like, 2 excellent values in our last draft compared to what just happened there. By comparison, pretty phenomenal. But Swift goes at pick 52, his RB1. Not bad at all. Evans goes pick 53. I would have taken Evans. Nice. Rome gets taken. And I think the correct thing to do is just scoop up Lamar Jackson. 7 picks past ADP, round 5. Lamar with Derrick Henry. I'll take that. Not going to let the Flowers team get him. That team with Terry does go Jaden Daniels, but love to see Lamar fall and then Daniels go right immediately after. Not bad at all. The way that went with Scattaboo and Judkins being taken, definitely not on my board consideration, and we just get an elite QB. Kind of underperformed last season. Definitely Lamar had some weird outcomes last year. Not quite the same player, but injury was a factor, and then obviously some problemas with John Harbaugh, the coach, that was on the outski. On the outs, I should say. Don't know why I said that. It's funny. Lamar can drop 45 in a given week. Mid-round 5. Big ADP fall. I'll take Lamar. 7 picks at this stage now that QB's like about to just pop off. Yeah, I'll scoop that up. I guess I have to. Not in love with it, but I'll go Mekhi Lemon. I'll go with the Lemon. 7 picks past ADP. Interesting that all 3 rookies just went round 6. Would feel a lot better with Carnell Tate, in all honesty, but let's take a shot. Lemon in the 6th feels fine. At least it feels better. Yeah, that's all right. Can't wait to see who gets traded tomorrow. Definitely on the table there. A lot of things can still shake up. Technically, we're just in the tampering period, right? Like technically, it's not like actually free agency, isn't it? Just the tampering period. Who's the better keeper value next year? DJ Moore in round 13 or Rico in round 13? Interesting. I think I'd go DJ Moore for 1 season. I think so. Because like the competition that DJ Moore has this season compared to last is just like negligible. A return with Joe Brady where he was always putting up 1,200 yards with the Panthers. That's going to be an easy fit. And then just like, if not then one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL throwing him the rock. Like, do you remember Stephon Diggs' first year with Josh Allen? Like, Stephon Diggs was top 5 receiver. I think DJ Moore has the higher upside. Rico is still at least competing with Jalen Warren, who they do like there, but it is a new coaching staff that is more familiar with Rico. Don't think he's bad. He's younger, but DJ Moore never misses games. DJ Moore always stays healthy, and he's tied with Josh Allen. We see DJ Moore going in the 5th round here, pick 49. Rico's still eligible, still on the board. So at least for 1 year, give me DJ Moore. If they're both round 13 keeper values, 100% give me DJ Moore. Plus the Bucks got Gainwell. Indeed they did. Have a lot of Gainwell. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to, but don't hate it. We go Fannin. Some divisional correlation. Last year, the Bengals were also the best matchup in the NFL for the tight end position. And Fannin can get like 15 targets. So I'll go Harold Fannin. But receivers a little bit tricky. At least we have Amon-Ra as the rock. But like, definitely some teams that went heavy receiver early kind of weighted the board a certain way. I still think it's fine. I think we're okay. But just remembering from the last draft, You can get a little bit more bullied at receiver now, with a few really good values last week, just a few days ago, and just not being there anymore. There's no 6th round Mike Evans to save me. That's long gone. There's no round 7 DJ Moore to save me. That's also long gone. But I am in the middle of the board. We have a very balanced start. 1, 2, 3, 1 on the clock now. And Jacoby Myers did circle back. Almost pulled up Jacoby Myers. Super happy I didn't. And if this Brian Thomas Jr. trade isn't going to happen, then Jacoby Myers under contract, 6 picks past ADP. I'll take him there happily. Just get me the points. Proved to have good chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. And Parker Washington would be moving up. So would Jacoby Myers if Brian Thomas Jr. got traded. Like, let's say they trade with the Chargers. I'm not going to say it's a lock, but let's say it happens. And they bring in Quentin Johnston. Who would you rather have? Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, or Quentin Johnston? I'm sure everyone's going to say Parker Washington, but I don't think Jacoby Myers looks too bad in that scenario. But kind of hard to see the Jags parting ways unless they get like elite draft compensation back for a former first-round pick just 2 seasons ago. But if Lamar Jackson wasn't available to me, I'll be honest with you, at pick 55, and let's say Quinshon Judkins was on the board versus Brian Thomas, I would have probably taken Brian Thomas. But at the moment, I think we're doing okay. We have Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, quarterback Lamar Jackson, receiver room Amon-Ra, Egbuka, Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Myers, and then tight end has Harold Fannin. We're doing just fine. Godwin goes 97. Godwin's just like officially top of round 9 now. Has been for a minute. I'll go Blake Corum. That's fine. Don't have a ton of him. That's fine. But with Lamar, I feel a little bit more confident in pushing our second QB just a little bit later. Could have 100% taken someone there, but I'll risk it. Might not work out, but we'll see what happens. Gadsden goes. Shakir, interesting. All right. So I could have taken Jadarian Price there. He finally gets taken 110. I was wondering when that would happen. But that's just not a turn that favors running back anymore. Running back's in a weird spot. Gainwell goes. Cole Ban only has 2 running backs, Hampton and RJ Harvey. So they go Goff. Interesting. Not feeling the pressure enough. Baker does get sniped. Bummer. But honestly, it's not the end of the world. I'm just going to take Jalen Coker. I think we're just going to get in at receiver. We've got a strong QB. The stack would have been worth it, but pulling up Baker there. Totally legit. Blake Corum did fall about 8 picks. Right? We got him at 103, ADP 96, so 7 picks, excuse me. We're getting a decent ADP drop on a lot of guys. and we were one pick away of getting Baker Mayfield. That team only had Jaden Daniels, so maybe I should have seen it coming. But legitimately worth the risk, in my opinion. Like, had we gotten Blake Corum and Baker, would have been phenomenal. I think if that team didn't take Goff, I think we would have gotten away with it. But that's one of the reasons why I was willing to push it. Didn't want to speak it into existence, but could have taken Goff or Baker, and the possibility I could have gotten either of them. Damn, so close. So close. Maybe the incorrect pick, but worth the risk in my opinion. To get our RB3 in Corum at one of the cheapest prices I've seen. Don't usually see Corum past pick 100. Like when it's usually like Price versus Blake Corum dwindling away, I'm almost always left with Price versus Corum. So pushed the envelope, didn't get the return. Josh Downs, 123. Interesting. That team is setting up a big Colts combo. That's for sure. But yeah, we're at that section of the draft where running backs just kind of gross. Glad we took at least Corum. Dobbs does get taken. In that case, I think I'll go with the first rounder. I think I'll just take Matthew Golden. Dobbs is gone. Dobbs going to leave. Casey Concepcion may be a very legit pick as well. I just don't know where he's going to land. We already have Fannin. Our QB room is leaning on Lamar. It's fine. I'll take Matthew Golden. Not going to circle back to the team with Jordan Love. They at least have Christian Watson, so they're okay. But I do think Golden has some amazing potential in this round. I'm not saying he's like guaranteed to hit, left a lot to be desired last season, but absolutely can pay off. If you would like, drop a like down below. If you're enjoying this content, we're going to take a quick smoke break as we enter the 12th round. Okay. So our receiver room, I think I pieced it together okay. I think we're in solid shape. Amon-Ra, Egbuka, Makai Lemon at a solid ADP drop. Jacoby Myers also at a solid ADP drop. Coker right around ADP, I believe 3 picks ahead, and then Golden 3 picks below. So some of the picks I have are just like purely on the left side of the board, but then paired with a few that are typically always on the right side of the board. I think I'm going to go Brenton Strange. Running back's not great. I'll get back in at tight end. We have the Jacoby Myers investment. One of the reasons we're talking ourselves into that is the assumption that Brian Thomas Jr. gets traded. If that occurs, then I do think Brenton Strange becomes much more appealing as well. And as the cheapest asset in the Liam Cohen offense, I'll invest in that. I feel okay with that. Myers and Strange can definitely like ping pong touchdown production. Absolutely. But we'll go Fannin and Brenton Strange to feel pretty confident tight end. If I want, I could totally stop at 2 tight ends here if I wanted to. Not saying I will, but I think you can get away with Fannin and Strange. But Bryce Young was taken to the team with Tedero McMillan. With all of the free agent movement we've had thus far, can anyone name a great landing spot for the rest of this running back class, sans Love, who could likely land in either Tennessee or Washington? I mean, right now, Seattle, bro, is wide open. Seattle is huge. They do not have Sharps for a while. They're not getting Walker back, and ETN is off the board. So Seattle is huge. Do you think Bills signed Shaheed? Shaheed returned to Seattle. Shaheed is a Seahawk again. Ayuk off the board. We're going to go Rashad White. If he signs with Seattle, I am going to be so happy. But the firm price on Rashad is 150, moving up a little bit. A little surprised that BBG goes Travis Hunter over Rashad White. I'm never doing that. And I guess I did discount Travis Hunter as actually the cheapest Jaguar. My bad. Ooh, we sniped him on the strange. Yeah, he's the one who has Lawrence. Not bad. I did not realize that. Not intentional, just taking best player available. Why are we counting on this incoming running back class to make some noise if there are only 1 or 2 starting spots available? Is this madness? Yeah, the rookie running back class is not very good. Beyond Jadarian Price, it thins out pretty fast. Jeremiah Love is excellent. He's rumored to go to Tennessee, and if he doesn't, then I guess Washington is the spot. But I don't think anyone going round 4 or later is going to move the needle, and I think that's a lot of those guys actually. Could go Likely. He's not returning there. Could go Hunter Henry. We talked about Hunter Henry getting more valuable. Just missed out on Kelsey. Emmett Johnson off the board. Yeah, we took Hunter Henry. Loses Austin Hooper, 5 picks past ADP. Don't think he was coming back. And I mentioned we could stop with 3 tight ends, but I feel very confident to have Hunter Henry as the tight end 3 in this lobby with Fannin and Strange. Tight end is a very strong aspect of this team. Definitely a little bit different. And we went with an elite quarterback. We're betting on Lamar. So I think it's totally justified to have this this combination. Let me put the volume down on that. This will be our final draft. Heads up. We have 6 picks left. A reminder of the team so far. We're rocking a 1-4-6-3 out of the 7 slot. We took Amon-Ra at pick 7. We go Derrick Henry at 18, Josh Jacobs at 31, Egbuka round 4. Lamar Jackson falls to us at pick 55. We go Mekhi Lemon at pick 66, Harold Fannin at 79, Jacoby Myers pick 90, Blake Corum pick 103, and then Jalen Coker, Matthew Golden. 2 names you're probably going to see me take a lot whenever I need receiver in this range. I love Coker, love Golden. I think Dobbs is legit. Downs with this new price is now in the mix. KC Concepcion as well, but I do prefer Golden over Concepcion. On the clock in just a second. Aaron Jones was just taken. I will draft Trey Harris. Not many receivers left. In the mood for a 7th, I think has a lot of upside. Trey Harris, we were asked earlier on Keenan Allen. Where was the question? Forgot where it was. Someone asked, any news with Keenan Allen? I am very hopeful he does not return to the Chargers because I believe in Trey Harris's upside. Trey Harris, a second-round pick, and only lost out some opportunity because of Keenan Allen's presence there. He was going to be competing with Mike Williams. Mike Williams went down. Keenan returned. Keenan was selected captain by the rest of the team. Accomplished some career benchmarks. I believe he became the leading receiver for the Chargers, overtaking Antonio Gates mid-season. Something along those lines. Maybe he just... I'll take Tank Bigsby. I'll do that. Pick 186. Not always going to take him round 17, but if people let him circle back and I can scoop him up round 16, I'm never going to pass that up. Round 16 is the last call if you're in a draft with me on Tank Bigsby. Especially if I do not have Saquon Barkley. We passed on Saquon for Derrick Henry, so 100% valid. Definitely in line with that thought process. Fade Saquon, and therefore covet Tank Bigsby. Brian Robinson goes as well. Run on RB. It is last call in general for RB. So Tank Bigsby feels like just a gift, an absolute gift. I am now up to, what is the official, our 26th share of Tank Bigsby. We're at least at 36%, if not like 37. Oh, we're pushing 37%. Tank Bigsby. The tank goes on and on. But Michael Penix continues to fall. This team is done at tight end with Fannin, Strange, and Hunter Henry. Receiver has Amon-Ra, Egbuka, Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Coker, Matthew Golden, Trey Harris. And at the moment, Michael Penix is falling like a rock. The team passes. The only other team with 2, I think, is going to pass as well. Give me Jalen Naylor. We got sniped last time, not going to happen. This time, pick 199. Essentially, pick 200. Happy to pull him up. Just get him on the roster. Don't give a shit. Jalen Naylor. Come on down. Penix expects to be ready for week 1. Going to compete with Tua. They need that to work out. Penix does get taken. I'm glad someone relieves me of that duty. Does take Aaron Rodgers. That's fine. I got too much Aaron Rodgers. And now you have 4. I guess with Shador as the second, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But expected Rodgers to circle back. Not gonna lie. I guess for a moment you could talk yourself into Caleb Johnson, but that went away quickly, didn't it? Don't need tight end here. I will just take Ray Davis. I will just take one of the last remaining very legitimate handcuffs to draft just based on the handcuff value alone. Bills handcuff. Let's go. James Cook goes down. I know where the ball's going to go. Last year, Ray Davis was our guy, and Ray Davis had a much higher price. So Ray Davis falls 10 picks. Give me Ray Davis as our RB6. Running backs room has Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Blake Corum, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby, Ray Davis. Wide receiver Amon-Ra, Egbuka, Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Coker, Matthew Golden, Trey Harris, and Jalen Naylor. Tight end room, awesome with Harold Fannin, Brenton Strange, Hunter Henry. Our quarterback room, very much relying on Lamar Jackson. But there's still 2 rounds left. Otten goes. Holani. Very legit selection. Might be terrible tomorrow. Not sure yet. Moolah says, maybe I'm just wish casting, but it's a good bet to get shares of both guys for the just in case scenario. I thought Shaheed signed 3 years with Seattle. Yes, he did. I want Mike Washington Jr. in Seattle who can be a 3-down workhorse when Sharp leaves next year. You'd think they're going to be drafting someone at this point, right? Maybe round 1. Last pick of round 1 is a running back. Could totally see that. Kirk Cousins. We know you just got let go by the Falcons. They brought in Tua. I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Tua. No offense to the BBG with pick 213. But Cousins going to sign somewhere. He's going to get a contract. He will get paid. And I could easily see it just be Minnesota. At this point, I think Cousins might be the best bet for Minnesota. I know everyone wants Kyler, but I don't see it. Mac Jones goes. That team has 5 QBs with Hurts. Interesting. King Dumond. 5 of them.
Nice and blunt.
Am I looking at receiver at all? Or are we just going to let it expire? Could go Bryce Lance. Don't hate that, but let's take a shot. Player I think will get traded. QB did get in a weird zone there. Sharper room than typical at QB. I'll put it that way. Don't usually see this many guys come off the board. Late this purple 4 straight pulls was a shocker. Like 100%, I was just gonna take Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, assuming he would be there. He was not. So Lamar Jackson has to fucking hit, has to work out. I think that's a fine bet to make. He either sucks and everyone drafting him in the 5th round is getting a terrible pick, and as soon as you draft Lamar, the team is dead anyways, or he's gonna fucking crush and yeah, this also works. Cousins, I think at this point I'm totally convinced he's a starter because he's not with the Falcons anymore, that's for sure. Is there something holding that back? So before June 1st, they would have $35 million in dead money. After June 1st, that number drops down to 22.5. So he's just gonna leave after June 1st. If they trade him after June 1st, then they're in the best situation imaginable. They would have to eat a lot of the contract though. So I really just expect him to be cut post June 1st. They would only have 22.5 mil in dead money. And then next year they would save 78 mil against the cap. Pre-June 1st, they would eat 10 million. After June 1st, that turns into a $2.1 million cap savings. I think that's what's going to happen. Kirk Cousins will be cut after June 1st, and he will sign with another team. That's my take on it. So, he's a very legit click. Rodgers, I think, will sign. Mac Jones, I think, can still just be Brock Purdy's backup. I think Mac Jones might just be a backup. Richardson probably is a backup as well, but probably not with the Colts. Probably gets traded, and if someone is going to trade for him, then they're willing to have him as a backup plan. Watch him be a Jet. Watch Anthony Richardson just be a New York Jet. Geno Smith might be a Jet. Tua is Penix's backup, so we'll get some starts probably. But definitely not the long-term pole position winner in the clubhouse, but very legitimate to get at least like 2 or 3 starts for you. And then JJ McCarthy, I don't know what to make of him. I'm just not really drafting him. At least he runs the ball. At least you get some rushing stats with JJ McCarthy, but that's where I'm also just seeing him equally as valuable as Anthony Richardson at this moment. Kirk Cousins, though, I do believe in, and he is a guy I'm interested in. Not going to be stacked up with Naylor, that's for sure, but doesn't have to be. On this team, we went Amon-Ra, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Egbuka, Lamar, Mekhi Lemon, Harold Fannin, Jacoby Myers. Good value on a lot of those picks. Blake Corum, Jalen Coker, Matthew Golden, Brenton Strange, Rashad White. Hunter Henry at I think a very fair price. Trey Harris, Tank Bigsby in the 16th. That's an auto click for me. Jalen Naylor, we did not want to get sniped this time. Just pulled him up to around 17. 100% justified. And then Ray Davis, round 18, slightly past ADP. Kirk Cousins, our second QB, and then Anthony Richardson, our number 3. Risky QB, but with Lamar, I think it's worth it. The team I like. The team feels strong. Tight end feels awesome. And then receiver, if Lemon hits, we're in amazing shape. But I do like the depth as well. I think the depth is pretty interesting. Running back is dope. Henry, Jacobs just have to stay healthy, but always scoring touchdowns. Corum, totally legit. Rashad, still a potential steal of the draft. Might be rising 50 picks tomorrow. And then Tank Bigsby, my boy. Ray Davis, last year was my boy. That is the team. That's it for me. Let's just take one look at Pollock's team. Who drafted in the 4. Jamar, London, A.J. Brown, Loveland, Swift. Parker Washington did not get Caleb Williams. Trevor Lawrence, Mahomes, and Worthy. Like the price on Mahomes there. That's dope. Mason, Denzel, Boston. I have seen Boston go later, but in round 11, it's totally legit. Does pull up Mike Washington. That's fair. I mentioned it at the time. Did not like the Travis Hunter selection. Then goes Kamani Vidal, Sean Tucker, Nick Singleton. That's whatever. At least Vidal is on a good offense, but I just don't know what to make of that. It's still a mystery with those. TJ Hawkinson, we've not been clicking very much. That one is a hard one to gauge, but some upside for sure. Tua, interesting. Rashard Smith and Ollie Gordon. Interesting swings. Not sure he would have felt as compelled to go that heavy RB had he just had Rashad White instead of Travis Hunter. A lot of late round running backs I'm just not usually clicking, but just a different take selection. Not that it can't work. Volume was critical, given Jordan Mason was the RB2. Yeah, a little tricky sometimes when you just pass on running back so long. But Swift as the RB1 always feels fine. It's just volume for the RB2 spot, and that definitely is a fine strategy. Yeah, not bad. Elite trio at receiver. Damn. Jamar, London, A.J. Brown. That's dope. All right. That's going to be it. I recognize anybody else? The Cobra. I guess we can take a look at Cobra's team. Went Gibbs, Judkins with Pickens, Olave, J-Mo, also Michael Wilson. Dak stacked up, Pollard there. Tyler Shuckey pulled up pretty early. That one was a little bit surprising. He has Olave, though. At least he has Olave. No, makes sense. Just not what I'm doing. Kittle, Diggs, Juwan Johnson, Jonathan Brooks there. Pulled him up a little bit. Don't hate it. Not at all. Troy Franklin. We see Kamara go at 168 in this lobby. I took him at 183 earlier in this draft, but Kamara there 168, and then AJ Barner. Kyle Williams, Jeremy Bernard, like that. McCarthy, we mentioned, but Otten, very legit. And then Devontae Walker could have been a stacking partner on my team with Lamar, but didn't feel like I needed it, in all honesty. Felt like I was okay with who I had. Coker as the 5, Golden as the 6, Egbuka as the 2, Amon-Ra as the 1. Lemon and Myers, we'll see about that, but probably fine. And then Trey Harris, Naylor, I think those 8 made it good enough to move on. Needed a little extra upside at QB. Took Richardson instead. Anyways, that's it. That is definitely going to be it for today. Appreciate you for sticking by. Drop a like on your way out if you haven't done so already. Subscribe as well. And one final reminder, new customers. Promo code BLUNT gets you $75 in bonus funds to use on Underdog after you play your first $5 over there. So link is in the description. Promo code BLUNT on sign up. Peace out. Good luck. And I will see you next time. Tomorrow, we're going to have BestBall on call. We're going to have a guest. Very excited for Anthony to join the live stream. A longtime viewer, also going to be on the channel with me tomorrow. So look out for that, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Goodbye.